This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1212 for all you numerologist people. That's a big one. I don't know. 1212. And it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang. And joining me from Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
Just down the street there, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And in LA, you know from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
Howdy.
This is fun. We're recording at the wrong time because Derek and I were in the Colorado mountains the last few days with no cell service. It was, Derek, how are you feeling this morning? You tired?
I feel great.
Yeah, you guys were a part of the, what was it called you said again? It was the Republicans for...
Shut up.
It's the Illuminati.
It was Cowboy Republicans in Denver.
First of all, Marty, you were invited on the trip.
I wanted to go.
And you didn't go. And there were several moments during the trip. Derek said to me, man, Marty should be here right now.
Yeah.
I wish, man. I had guys coming to shoot content, and I hate that I have to do that now. I have to shoot content like 4 days, and then, all right, guys, go home.
You guys were off in the mountains getting lost. Marty and I were doing other fun work things.
That's right.
Okay, first of all, we weren't just like it was.
Well, you guys were horseback riding.
I did horseback ride up to the top of a mountain, and it was snowy, Colorado peaks all over. It was pretty epic. I've never done that before.
You. So happy.
You know, it was deep dive, amazing. Like Derek, I don't know how you feel, but like I just feel lighter. Like I feel like deep soul work happened, and I feel clear eyed. Like I don't know, man. It was Marty. Next year you got to come, man.
I'm planning on crying the entire time,
dude. I cried so many times.
As a man, to cry is the greatest, especially as you get older. Yeah. It's just such a good release, just to be like, I'm over it. I just had to cry it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no question.
The best feeling in the world.
Emily's like, what is going on?
Yeah. Here's some secrets that no one knows. Men loved it. I love crying. I love it.
No, I love making men cry.
Oh,
good Lord. Not that kind of crying. Therapeutic, healing crying.
Oh, I don't know what y'all are talking about then.
Not breaking hearts type thing. But I'm glad you guys went to that.
It was great.
It was dope. It was super dope.
Derek, I couldn't get Derek on a horse.
I was about to say, did you guys both go horseback riding? But I didn't.
Wait, why did you not want to get on a horse?
I've been there, done that. I'm good.
I got him on a horse on another trip when we were in Wyoming. And then on the next trip where there was horses, I was like, hey, you want to go horseback riding? I mean, you do that now. You know, he's like, no, I'm good. I did it.
I did it. It was great.
Did you not like it?
It's not that I didn't like it. It's just it wasn't my thing. Like it was like, all right, I did it.
You don't like balancing on a horse and then your abs are like.
First of all, horses are massive.
Yeah,
huge.
Like they're massive, and I'm a large man. So like to be. How did people fight on horses? Like that's see when you think about that, like it's crazy. Like jousting is had to be terrifying. Those had to be like very, very large men. Like it's a crazy thing because
they
in
had
my
gear
mind,
on too. I mean, they are like,
but that makes it even crazier though. Like first off, a horse could put a 240-pound man wearing a suit of armor, holding a big stick.
Yeah.
Like, and they ran into each other at the same time. Like, that's a crazy thing to think. So, I don't have any armor. There's not even helmets. A guy said he was wondering why we shouldn't have bike helmets while riding on a horse.
Derek, I did think of you on the trip and on the trail, and I was glad you didn't do it. Because the one that we went on in Wyoming was very easy. It was an easy ride. Yeah. This was, we were literally climbing a mountain on the horses.
Yeah.
And my horse, his name was Marvel, and he was the largest horse of all the horses. They gave me the tallest, biggest, massivest horse, and he had a huge personality, and he wanted to like create his own path.
And see the guy who brought us all together, I'm not going to mention his name.
Yeah.
But he's listening.
Yeah.
And he likes to do things like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, hey, we're going to go on a small 10-minute walk and then you're gone for 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not like, I'm
Not
in the
falling for
mountain,
that.
8,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Even the car ride up here, like we're riding the car up. It's
On
up
dirt
some
roads.
curvy situations. It
Yeah.
was snow on the ground. Listen,
Yeah.
man, as a
Oh, it's
black
snowing.
man, there's a level of like, there's a level of intuition that you have that's like, this ain't adding up to what they trying to sell. So
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, there ain't nothing but mountains around here. So riding a horse on Wyoming and it's flat ground, that's cool.
Right.
But it was steep getting up here. Where are they riding the horse to? They have to be riding on the side of a mountain. Nah, I'm cool. I'm going to sit here.
Kevin Costner.
I took a nap. That's what I did.
He did. He actually did take a nap.
He
Great
felt
nap.
refreshed with a cup of coffee when everyone's walking in the house. He's like, hey, guys.
So to my brother that's listening, didn't get me.
Man, I'm telling you, it was a life-changing trip for me, but the weather was kind of crazy. I live at sea level. I live at 0. You know, we have humidity in the air. It's moist. We don't need moisturizer here in Florida. You know, it was 82 degrees when I left. We got there. It's snowing. It's ice all over the place. It was 8,000 feet elevation.
Yeah.
8,000. That's a mile and a half up in the air. I mean, Derek can attest, our cabin there's like a main lodge and our cabin was like kind of up this hill. And you'd look at it and like, oh, it's just right there. My goodness. By the time you got to the cabin, we're like holding on to the door.
I hate that.
Like we couldn't catch breath. It was awful.
Oh, man. I hate
Man,
that.
I got to the cabin and I felt like I just ran a marathon.
For real.
I'm like, dog, I'm not trying to ride a horse feeling like that. Like, dog, no, you're not going to get me. Like, nah,
The
I'm
air
cool
is
with that
crazy
one.
up there because a few years ago when I went to Colorado, I would like go on hikes and I was like so out of breath, just like not even because like the terrain was necessarily bad. It's just so high up in the air, and then I'm hiking. Like it just was hard, and people would pass me if I like took a stop, and I would feel so
it's
bad
the
about
worst.
myself because I was like, wow, I'm really out of shape, and it's like I'm slightly out of shape. These people just are used to living here and can breathe. Normal.
Yeah,
so it's like
man.
I don't know how to breathe here, and I'm like forcing myself to exercise.
I was
Double
asking
whammy.
some of the ranch hands that live there and stuff. I was asking them like, how long did it take you to acclimate to this air? And it was like a couple months. Like honestly,
Man.
what I don't understand is the NBA or the sports teams. Like Denver's, you know, at Mile High City, so 5,000 something feet. We were at 8,000, but still a mile in the air is different. How? I mean, that should be a huge home field advantage for the Denver sports team
100%.
versus a team coming in and can't catch their breath, you know? Like, how do you run for 2.5 hours like basketball and like in that kind of air?
That's why soccer teams do that. Soccer teams, they go to high mountains and they start to practice because it's like their air. So you would assume you're right. Why would Denver not be the
check
best?
this out. And I'm a debrief with white people on this show because I just went and hung out with a bunch of white people. I know it's a lot of white people that listen to the show, but it's also some brothers and sisters that listen. I got some of them in my Discord, but I have to debrief with y'all.
Okay.
White people different. I'm gonna tell you why.
What?
Because we just said all of this stuff, like the air is thin, and I wake up and it's 6:30 in the morning because I'm on a different time zone, and I see this white dude sprinting across, getting his run in, like and he's running like the black dude on Get Out. You know, like when he's running straight to you. I'm talking about he's in a dead sprint, and I'm like, dog, listen, man. I don't even want to walk up the hill. What are you doing running at this? I'm talking about he is like in a dead sprint. I was like, oh yeah, that's when I realized I was like, white people different. Like white people different. I love y'all. It's different in a good way because I'm like, listen, I know some of the most athletic men on planet Earth, but I don't know none of them that would be, I'm talking about dead sprinting like that. I'm like, man, it's a mindset thing, bro. For real. I ain't gonna hold you. It's crazy.
It was on vacation too. It's like we were there for a few days. Relax.
Dog, why would you torture your heart and lungs like that?
He probably felt so good about himself.
man.
My Apple Watch was going off nonstop. We would be sitting talking around the fire, and my watch would be like, "Hey, your heart rate's elevated," just because the air is so thin. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, bro. I ain't riding no horse on no mountain. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
I love that Derek and I, the last few years, have had a lot of these adventures, these very, very white adventures, and
I love it.
I love that Derek's loving it.
At first, I was nervous about it.
Yeah.
But now it's like hanging out. I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't go on the adventures with them. It's more fun to watch the white people do the white stuff than it is to actually participate in the white stuff with them at times. They stretch me though. Like, hey, Derek, man, come on, buddy. Let's do it. Oh.
Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Did you guys do s'mores and stuff? Would you guys have like moments around the fireplace where guys shared stuff? Like, what was happening?
Well, I mean, we won't too much, but I mean, it was like a lot of free time like that, a lot of conversation, a lot of intentional connection, people that maybe you wouldn't know otherwise. The guy who gathers this group every year is very intentional about who he brings. And then it's like there's Christian business leaders, artists, like philanthropists, innovators, crypto guys. I mean, just like a weird mix. Baby. Weird mix of people. And that's what's so cool about it is like, it's not about what we do. It's like, there's this shared thing of like, we're all running, in life, we're all running. We all are working for something bigger than ourselves. We all have faith and we're not competing with each other. And like, that is a rare thing for men to be together who aren't competitive with each other. And we want each other to win and we can make each other better. And that is what's beautiful about this mix. Derek and I go on other trips where it's just hanging out and relaxing and we need rest.
Yeah.
This gathering every year is more about, man, I come back clear-eyed, healed, inspired. It's like it's been life-giving to me. I've gone now twice and it has been literally like tent poles in my life, like these moments.
You got me hyped up. All the listeners are hyped up too. We all want to do the Relevant podcast retreat.
We'll do the cruise.
I'd say this though. The epiphany I had, Cameron, I think that it has, not to get like heavy, but when we look at the world today, that's so uncommon. But I don't think it used to be uncommon as much. Because you think about it, like your friends were the community that the people that you were in the neighborhood with. And everybody in your neighborhood didn't often do the same thing. It was different types of people down the street. This guy's a plumber. That guy works at a bank. This guy does this. And, people would hang out, drink beer, sit on the porch.
That's it.
Talk with neighbors, and then, talk about, man, this is happening in the marriage and this. I think that we need a return to that. And I think what makes that so refreshing is that it's actual true community. Because like in a community, most people aren't really competing with each other except for who has the best lawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not that much. And I think we've been so grouped along our interests. Yeah, the internet, it's like, oh, I'm interested in rap. Oh, I found this community of people that's interested. And then it starts off as innocent, but then it grows into different things or work, interests, group us together. But I would love to see just that not be uncommon.
Yeah. Individuality, community that embraces that individuality. Yeah. I love that. That's so cool.
I mean, think about it. We all live in our homes and we leave our front door, we get in a car and we go to there isn't community where we live anymore. That's a great point, Derek.
Yeah.
Good point.
So we have to be intentional about it. And, certain people have that insight and are being intentional about gathering people and forming a community that doesn't exist naturally, so that's the cool thing too, is I'm an introvert and I don't want to have small talk with a bunch of people I don't know. Like that's my hell. You put me in a room with 50 people, just like chit chatting. I literally will leave. I will just like go. I will like, never mind. That's not me. But like, so like even the guy who gathered us was intentional about like, yeah, there were moments like that where everybody just hung out together, but it's like break off into smaller groups, meet people you didn't know. And it's like, man, I've developed friendships with people that I wouldn't have ever interacted with in real life, and like you live this out with them. You stay in touch. You're in each other's corners after that. Dude, it's crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
So thankful. It's good. All right. Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talk to Pastor Mike Todd. You know him.
Whoa.
Leader of Transformation Church, best-selling author. We talk about a really important topic, like overcoming trials and trauma of life. And yeah, it's good. You don't want to miss that convo that he had with Emily. Also, we also have your feedback at the end of the show. What was the feedback, Emily? Remind me.
Everyone submitted their fun car features because we were talking about like Tesla has silly features, and so like, what do you want to add to your car?
Oh, things that they want to see added to their car.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's awesome.
Okay. All right, but stay tuned after this break. It's Relevant Buzz. Today's show is also brought to you in part by Upside Down Kingdom Bible. Think deeply and love widely with the new NIV Upside Down Kingdom Bible. This study Bible provides readers with thoughtful, scripture-based notes from a diverse set of trusted Christian voices and explores difficult issues facing Christians today. With features that are honest, nuanced, and filled with grace, topics such as race and ethnicity, creation care, science, abortion, gender and sexuality, politics, and others. Learn more at UpsideDownKingdomBible.com or find it wherever books are sold. All right, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
All right, tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, the first thing we have to talk about is probably one of the funniest things that has ever happened. I'm really not being facetious here. The Onion, the satirical news site, has successfully bought Alex Jones' InfoWars website.
Genius.
No.
Genius. That is so good.
So let me this just happened. Let me give some backstory here. So for everyone
Can I say one thing, Emily? Can I say one thing? They tweeted when apparently they were keeping the secret, and Emily will explain, but they tweeted something, and this is how I found out. They're like, we're about to do the funniest thing. And that's what they said. They tweeted that we're about to do the funniest thing that no one knows about. And I was like, what is that? And this is what it was.
Oh my God.
So a little backstory if you don't quite understand why this is truly so funny. So Alex Jones had this website InfoWars. He is a well-known conspiracy theorist, and a few years back he was found liable for spreading lies about the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting. And there was a lot of obviously fallout over that for the last decade. But last year he was ordered to pay $1.5 billion in damages to the families of the victims. Obviously, he does not have $1.5 billion laying around. So he's been he had to file for bankruptcy. He's been selling off a lot of things, including InfoWars. So he's been auctioning that off since September. And not just the website, also like production stuff, like truly everything had to go. It's been on the market for a few months. And it was just announced this week that The Onion had won the bid.
Wow. Amazing. Do we know how much?
It's not revealed yet how much. It might come out later, but at the time of this recording, we do not know. But the owner of The Onion, he spoke to the New York Times about it, and kind of like what Marty was saying, he said, we thought this would be a hilarious joke. This is going to be our answer to this no guardrails world where there are no gatekeepers and everything's kind of insane. So he announced that their plan is to relaunch the site as a parody of itself. And
that's why I think it's amazing.
They're going to make fun of online personalities like Alex Jones.
They even said, thank you for everybody who's been investing in our site because we use that money to buy this. So I'm really curious on how much they spent.
I will say, too, what's interesting is they announced that they also partnered with Everytown for Gun Safety, which is an advocacy group that was formed in the aftermath of the Sandy Hook shooting. And they'll be advertising on the new InfoWars. So they're they are really sticking it to Alex Jones
and all the money for the sale will go to the Sandy Hook victims and the families. Wow. So that's great.
I wonder, does he think that he's wrong? Or by the way, side note, does he think he's wrong?
I think he thinks he's right.
He still thinks he's right.
He's never admitted that he made it all up.
I have not seen him admit I was wrong. So
I mean, one of my favorite memes is Alex Jones wearing that tinfoil hat that he put on one.
It's iconic. Yes. I hope that's like their logo. Yeah. Or like a silhouette of him.
So many.
Like the NBA logo.
Emily,
it's a silhouette.
Emily, that's so good. Emily, somebody make that and send it to The Onion right now. That's so good. Please take that idea. This started on the Relevant Podcast.
It would look like an onion. If you silhouetted it would look like an onion.
But it's a person.
It's so genius. That would be the funniest thing ever.
Cameron, call your rich and powerful friends right now. Do it.
Is there any designers that I know of that could post this on Instagram or Twitter and get the ball rolling or momentum? This is a great idea.
Alex Medina.
Yeah, he would do it. He would do it.
Alex Medina would do it. We got the team now. We got Alex Medina did the logo. It's perfect. That's it.
Let's go.
I love
His
it.
contribution to sticking it to Alex Jones. I
love that this is the most epic, expensive troll ever. I love it.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Oh, but this is going to take the onion to the next level, though. Like, this is going to change the game. It does.
All right. What else, Emily?
So the next time I want to talk about is there's this new trend that's been emerging that it's kind of like retail therapy, but on steroids, or antidepressants actually might be a better use for it. But basically,
if you will.
So there's this new study that came up from Credit Karma that found that 1 in 4 Americans are, quote, doom spending, which is where they're spending more money even as they're getting more worried about the current financial situation.
That ain't good, y'all.
One of 4. Who's doing it?
So when you brought this up, and I haven't read the article yet, but you mentioned it to me in our prep meeting. What is the difference between retail therapy? You're going through a hard season of life, you lose your job, break up, and you go buy, things come, you feel better. What's the difference between retail therapy and doom spending?
So retail therapy, like you said, it's like I go through a breakup, let me go buy a new pair of shoes to feel better about myself. Doom spending is you're so uncertain about that financial future that you're not sure if you're going to be able to afford things, that you spend your money now because you don't know if you'll be able to spend it later.
They should call it YOLO spending. It sounds like YOLO
That's really
spending.
what it is.
Yeah. It's just like the world's about to crumble and collapse. I'm gonna buy that. That Ferrari.
Because like the study also found 19% of young adults. Oh, because this is a trend that it's way bigger in young adults than just like general Americans. 37% of Gen Z and 39% of millennials admit that they doom spend. So of that, 19% of young adults do not have a savings at all. And over a third said that they don't even see a point in saving because things are just so up in the air. So they're like, why? I'll just go ahead and spend now. So it really is like a YOLO mindset.
That's going to turn out great for everybody.
No, it's not. That is bad. That is bad, guys. That's not good.
Like, I feel like I've ranted about this before. We are in a media literacy crisis, and we're now also about to be in a financial literacy crisis. If people truly are not understanding, you cannot spend, like, if you're so concerned about not having money in the future, don't spend that money now.
Listen, guys, the Bible says this, and I don't want to get on a high horse and preach, but the Bible says that you are a slave to the lender. And that's what it says.
True.
And if the future is uncertain, if it is uncertain and you're going out amassing all of this debt, if doom does not come and we don't all get, whatever you believe on going to heaven, hell, et cetera, and you're still here, you're going to be in a tight web of debt. And I don't want that for you. Yeah. So I want you to put your trust in Christ. I want you to put your trust in Christ and put your faith in Christ. And I want you to calm down, breathe, go for a run like that white guy did in them thin mountains. But do not put yourself in slavery over things. That's Uncle Derek is done talking, but just want to say that.
The only thing you should doom buy is a new Bible and read it.
Man,
and they sell one with the Constitution if you guys are interested. They sell one. If you need the Pledge of Allegiance, I forgot who sells it, but somebody.
The Homeschool Mom Bible.
They're made in China, but I can't even remember.
What did you say about the preschool mom Bible?
I want the Homeschool Mom Bible. I love the like hyper specific ones. It's just like
what's in that Bible? Like what is it? Is it like
truly inspiration?
Does it smell like a pumpkin spice latte? Is
gingerbread?
No, I think like there are like little devotionals on like encouragement when you're homeschooling your kids, which is like very sweet. Like again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just so funny that there's a whole industry for these very specific Bibles. We've talked about this before. Just
listen, homeschool moms. They need Bibles that are contextualized for them. They're dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. So listen,
there you go.
Enjoy your scratch and sniff pumpkin latte by day.
The sourdough Bible.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Emily, what else?
Okay. Last thing that I want to talk about is something that I'm really excited about. Jim Gaffigan is coming out with a new comedy special next week called The Skinny. And it's actually the first comedy special that Hulu has produced. But it's dropping next Friday. We've got a trailer of it here.
I don't know if you know, I'm normally a fat guy. But since I've lost all this weight, now I'm just arrogant. People, they won't even say anything to me. They'll just go up to my wife and ask, "Is Jim okay?" Because to them, it's more likely that I'm sick than I would ever have any self-discipline. I know I complain a lot about my family, but they've ruined my life. You ever notice in commercials for alcohol, people are always laughing and having a good time? I just like to see one print ad that shows some expressionless dad sitting alone at a kitchen table with a bottle of booze.
He always has it. He's so funny.
My wife was like, "Don't gaslight me." And I was like, "I've never heard that term before." She was like, "You've never heard of gaslighting?" And I was like, "I don't think anyone on this planet has heard of gaslighting. You might be going crazy." And I fully admit my wife has it harder, much harder, but this whole thing is kind of her fault. These children didn't come out of my body. In a way, they're not even my kids.
Oh yeah, I'm watching that. I've never seen a stand-up from Jim Gaffigan. So
Yeah, I've seen him live a couple times.
Man.
He's great. Yeah,
He's great.
I'm glad that he's progressed past just the Hot Pocket era. Like he was known as the Hot Pocket food joke guy, and I'm fat and I eat everything, and that was his joke, his shtick. And he tried to evolve past that for a little bit, and it wasn't quite as good. And it was kind of like he was kind of falling off. Something's happened in the last 2-3 years where he has found a new era.
The Skinny is because he's talking about how he did lose weight.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think he addresses like, I'm no longer, the guy that I was known for. So now here's my new material. Like he's had like a physical transformation,
it's like
but also
refreshed. Yeah. His
so
material
he was
is
real
refreshed.
heavy. He was real heavy.
No. It was just, he was like, I'm the schlubby. I like Hot Pockets. Yeah, like,
gotcha.
yeah.
Like a sitcom dad almost, right?
Yeah. He was just like self-deprecating
Kevin
type
James,
thing.
yeah, it's like that.
Okay, I got you. I'm
Like
tapped
I'm
in.
fat. Yeah.
But now it's like his material has evolved past that, and it's like it seems refreshed and it's great.
He's like a better Seinfeld to me because Seinfeld is he just says he does the same jokes for every 5 years. Like I've seen Seinfeld twice, and I've seen the same show 3 times. Not worth it to see. But with Jim Gaffigan, he does the same type of. Have you ever noticed? But it's it's like Midwest funny. And I love that about him, right? Is that what it is? Midwest funny? Yeah.
It's ironic that you're mentioning Seinfeld and him because they co-headline arena tours together, Gaffigan and Seinfeld.
They're the same guy, but literally Seinfeld is name because I've literally seen him twice. 5 years apart, he did the same stupid show. And I was like he talks about this, and he even did the same show on Netflix, like that you will see live. I don't know why he doesn't retire jokes. I just don't.
I thought it was kind of known that Seinfeld wasn't a great stand-up comedian.
I know. I don't get it. Like he's like this iconic comic, and he's actually not that funny.
Well, because when I would watch like Seinfeld with my dad, we'd watch it on Netflix. Like the last few years, we watched it on Netflix. My dad will just fast forward through the stand-up bits in the show, like at the beginning and end, because he's like, it's not that like, which he's already heard them, but he's like, I haven't heard them, and he's like, they're not that funny. Yeah. So I have it in my head that Seinfeld's not a great stand-up comic.
He's never really been funny to me. I'm gonna keep it real.
Yeah, I love the show, but him as a comic is not funny.
The show is not just him.
It's not him. It's Larry David wrote the show, so it's like it's Larry David's humor that made the show funny. Seinfeld's not funny.
Yeah,
they're the perfect combo. Yeah.
It's interesting too. Like not only have Gaffigan and Seinfeld been co-headlining, now Nate Bargatze is part of this, and they have like this trio thing. And there's the biggest comics in the world, the biggest comedian, the biggest tours. Are all clean comedy now, which is really interesting.
That's really cool. I love it.
Like I said, this is the first comedy special that Hulu is producing. So I think it's great that they are starting with Jim Gaffigan because again, obviously they'll do non-clean comics as well, but I love that he's the one that gets to be the first.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Hopefully him and Nate go and leave Jerry Seinfeld behind and I'll let him see the tour.
Well, even too, like on Nate's tour, if like somebody will pop in, it's like Jimmy Fallon will pop in, or like it's all these clean comics now, which is just an interesting shift
isn't that crazy
in comedy.
That Jimmy Fallon will like show up at a Nate
open for Nate Bargatze.
You said Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Why does that sound odd?
Jimmy Fallon's opening for Nate Bargatze.
I just realized his name is Jimmy. I don't know why. Like that just was like a revelation moment. And I was like, why'd you say Jimmy? And that's his name, Jimmy.
James Fallon. Do you want me to call him James Fallon?
No, I just, you ever like hear someone's name and you're like, for instance, I was watching crazy. Tulsa King and I saw Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, his name is Sylvester. Like, I don't know why. Like, it just hits you in the head. You're like, what? You ever had that? You see something, you're like, why? I just realized it. I don't know.
Little baby Sylvester, like their parents.
You named their baby Sylvester. He's not a cat.
I can't imagine Sylvester Stallone as a baby. I assume he like came out as a grown man.
He came out as a grown man
with muscles,
with a strong chin.
Anyway, all right, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering those stories and a lot more at the intersection of faith and culture. Thanks, Emily. Stay tuned. After this break, Mike Todd joins us. Can you quote Peter Griffin and St. Augustine? Are you a fan of Theo Von and the Nicene Creed? If so, Not the Sermon is the podcast for you. Join Jamie and Eric, a senior pastor and associate pastor, for a hilarious blend of comedy and theology. They roast church culture, parody modern worship, and discuss tough theological topics. This blend of the silly and the sacred is your new podcast obsession. Search for Not the Sermon anywhere you listen to podcasts. Today's show is brought to you in part by Ricky Smiley's new book, Sideshow. Have you experienced devastating loss? Ricky Smiley, comedian and radio show host, shares his journey through grief and healing after losing his son and father to addiction in his new book, Sideshow. Discover hope, encouragement, and tools to practice how to hold the good with the grief, the past gifts with the present heartache, the hope with the hurt. Learn more about this autobiographical book that can serve as a helpful resource at sideshowbook.com. Well, our guest today is Mike Todd. He's the pastor of Transformation Church in Tulsa and author of books like Crazy Faith and Damaged, Not Destroyed. We talked to him about how to overcome trials and trauma in life and find true victory and freedom. Here's Emily's conversation with Mike Todd.
You know, I've heard you say that we have to work through our trauma to reach triumph, and I want to dive into that message. But first, when you say trauma, what definition are you using?
Easy, simple Mike Todd definition is trauma is anything that impacts you greatly. So, because a lot of times people think trauma is just bad things. In this book, I talk about the trauma of success, because that impacted me greatly. And I think that trauma can be anything from the coach not letting you play when you were in 5th grade on the basketball team, to a brother and sister always telling you stop touching my stuff, to not being accepted into the college that you wanted to go to, the alma mater that your family went to, all the way to actually graduating the top of your class, but not actually loving what you spent all that time doing. Like, trauma can happen through anything. It reminds me of when the scripture says, in this life, you will have trouble. I say, in this life, you will have trauma. Like the trouble will cause trauma. But the truth of the matter is, every trauma, every trouble is actually an opportunity for you to learn something about yourself and learn something about God. And a lot of times people use the trauma as an excuse to stay where they're at, instead of the platform to go to where God has them to go. I can think in my own life, how many times my greatest problems in one season became my greatest victories in another. I used to have an addiction to pornography, and I remember being so steeped in that valley and perversion and all of those things. Like, will I ever be free from this? And actually saying something about it, confessing to the community that I was around, letting the people that actually cared about me know, like, that was the hardest battle for years. And people want to be like, yeah, for a couple of weeks. No, for years. Like, it was about, but once that dam broke and I was able to release that, help started coming. And now it's been a decade and a half that I've been away from that addiction, and I can relate to people now who are still in that. It became my platform. And that's what I'm just trying to tell everybody. Like, if you face the pain, face the trauma, face the hurt with God's help, it actually turns your pain into your platform. And I really do believe that on the other side of your greatest hurdle is a great victory. And that's why we made the subtitle From Trauma to Triumph, because I believe every fail has a potential to turn into something in your favor.
How can we start that healing journey for ourselves? Like, what's the first step we could take?
The thing that I'm going to tell everybody on every interview, everywhere, is that you're damaged. Like, the truth of the matter is most people are so aware of everybody else's problems that they won't admit their own. And the truth of the matter is we're all damaged. We live in a fallen world. We are surrounded by sin every day. My flesh wants to do the wrong thing every day that I wake up. And if you don't acknowledge something, you'll never change it. Like, if you don't acknowledge that the trash stinks, you'll never take it out. And a lot of people are living in trash because they're like, oh, that's just the natural order of my room. Like, no, it stinks in here. You need to take the trash out. But many times acknowledgement is the first step to actually getting healing. And so I would just encourage people to look at your life. Look at why you don't answer phone calls. Look at why you hold on. I hit a button right there. Look at why you don't answer phone calls. Look at why when people are trying to get close to you, why you kind of make excuses not to get to, or look at the reason why you're always around people and never can be by yourself. Like, look at the things in your life that are normal for you and just trace it back and see, is there any reason why this is happening? And could this be a result or the fruit of something that I haven't really dealt with? And, in the church, we've done a bad job of just telling people to pray about it. Like, I do think that prayer is a catalyst, and it is the ointment around all of the hard work that we have to do. But I don't think it's a cure-all, fix-all. One time I prayed at the altar or I prayed with my small group person and now I'm done. I can't tell you when I was in youth ministry how many people was like, oh, I feel different now. And I was like, yes, you feel different now. So do a different step now. Go to counseling, go to therapy. Like, now that you feel different, cut those people off. And a lot of people try to walk into the same lifestyle after a moment or an encounter with God. And I believe that it took years many times to get to where we are. It's a journey to get there. It'll be the journey out of it. But that's why we have to first acknowledge that maybe I'm damaged and maybe there's some things I need to work on, and God still loves me, and I still have hope, and I'm still funny. I can do all of that at the same time. And that's why I love that God and life are so beautifully complex, that it allows all of us to fit into this beautiful story that is being written.
And now, how can the church help our brothers and sisters while they're on their own healing journey? Yeah,
I love it. Number one is you got to listen better. I think that in the church that when we have community and when we get people to actually open up to us and tell us that they're struggling with lustful thoughts or infidelity, or I was abused when I was young, we don't have to solve it. We're not the savior. Most people feel intimidated by people's problems because they think they have to fix it. I don't have to fix nobody's problem. I just have to point you to the one who can fix the problem. And so I think the first thing is, if you become better listeners, to be empathetic, to be able to think of a moment or a time where you might have been in something similar, that you can let them know they're not alone. I think that's one thing that we can do better. And then I think that all of us have to do a better job at doing our own work. It's very hard for me to listen to somebody about their issues, but it triggers me. It sends me that's just too much. And the truth of the matter is, it's because a lot of times we're not doing our own work. And I found the more that I go to counseling, the more I'm in small group, the more that I'm reading, the more that I'm talking and processing with my wife, it's easier for me to be there for people who are going through the same thing, that are going through loss, that are going through transition, that are going through change. And I think that helping somebody means helping yourself. And if you start there, that will be more of a help, because I can't tell you how many people I've been able to help with counseling, because me and my wife have been in 4 years of intensive counseling. I know language now. I can refer books to them. I can do those different things. And then the third thing is, I think you point them to the hope that Jesus can change your situation. We have literally tons of examples in the Bible of people being demon possessed, of people being literally stoned and cast out of communities, and Jesus still touched them. And Jesus still went to their situation and told them that you can be healed. Even situations that look dead, things that we have thought there's nothing that can be done about it. This is just how I am. This is just how it's going to be. the hope of this belief that we have in Jesus is that he can perform a resurrection. And that's where, for me, I think being an encourager, that this will turn around. I know you're here right now. I know this is how you're feeling right now, but I believe that God can do something more. That faith talk, that ability to communicate hope. Hope is the fuel for faith. And I just believe that for me, it is about us encouraging people to life. And those practical things can really help people not just live another day, but like have a flourishing life, because we're all going to go through things, but it's how we handle what we go through that allows us to actually see the value all around us.
That was Mike Todd. Make sure to check out any of his books. Crazy Faith, Damaged Not Destroyed. They're out now. All right, after this break, it's your feedback. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by World Vision. We all subscribe to a lot of services that make our lives easier and more entertaining. But as followers of Jesus, we should want to seek first the kingdom of God in all areas of life, including our spending. That's why I'm so excited about a new kind of subscription through World Vision. Not one for myself, but for others. It's called Believers for World Change. And when you sign up, you're joining a community of change makers working to help end extreme poverty around the world and here at home. World Vision is a Christian humanitarian organization that works with children, families, and communities to reach their God-given potential, focusing on things like gender equality, spiritual nurture, and access to clean water, education, job training, and healthcare, so the entire picture of poverty can be addressed. Let's subscribe to something new together. Subscribe to World Change today at worldvision.org. Again, that's worldvision.org. Well, Relevant has a lot happening this year, and we don't want you to miss a thing. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter right there on the front page at relevantmagazine.com, and we'll send you our top 5 trending stories sent to your inbox every weekday. We'll also send you a weekly podcast newsletter with the latest episodes, some fan extras, and first peeks at the new shows that we're going to be rolling out throughout this year. Make sure to sign up. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything we got going on. Okay, it's time for your feedback. So last week we got talking about car features, Teslas that can drive themselves and different things. This isn't new information, but it got us thinking of like kind of how crazy cars are getting and how crazier they're going to get. So we asked you, what fun feature would you add to your car? Because I think the fun part of it was like we were talking about, Derek loves to do the fart honking on his car.
Well, no, I was in an Uber and I asked him, what's your favorite feature about driving? Because he had a Tesla. And he was like, and I asked him what his favorite feature was. And the very first thing he told me was the whoopee cushion feature, which I didn't know was a thing.
Got it. All right. So we asked you, you hit us up at Relevant Podcast on X. Here's some of our favorite replies. But before we get into them, I want to say the first one on the list, Crystal Brandt, she says the ability to play carpool karaoke easily. Literally, there's karaoke in Teslas. There's a whole section.
Good try, Elon.
How does that work?
There's a whole library of music, and it's just like if you went to a karaoke bar. It's all the big songs from many decades, current ones as well. And you just pick the song you want. And as you're driving, your passengers can play karaoke. So you hit play and it plays the instrumental of the song, and the big screen is all the lyrics, just like at a karaoke bar. That's what it is.
I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of these are available on Tesla.
Yeah, a lot of them are. I'm noticing that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a mood light show. The Tesla does that.
Literally does it.
You can open the doors. It does it. The full on tray. I mean, they don't have that, but they do.
But
that's
Bentleys
a big thing
do
right now. Yeah,
Bentleys
that's a
do.
big thing right now for Mercedes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is the best one. Chris Taylor has the best one. Says it'd be cool if there was a personal hype man voice every time you look in the mirror, something that automatically goes like looking sharp or go get him. Like that actually,
I love that.
That actually kind of fly. I ain't gonna lie. That'd be kind of
cool. The chair kind of slaps you in the butt like a coach would.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I feel good about myself here.
You the man.
That actually would be nice, because there's times where it's like, I'm going to something like a new event or something, or I'm like doing something by myself. And it's like, I'll call my friend to have them hype me up. But if I could just look in the mirror and it would give me like a little hype.
AI is about to do that. Watch. We're going to have AI hype man It's coming.
I would love it with a famous voice. You know, like I would love it with.
Oh my! You're telling me Taylor Swift could hype me up?
Yeah, she's like, "You go, girl," like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Morgan Freeman, dog. I need Morgan Freeman right over here to the side.
Hold on, Emily's checking her makeup in the rearview mirror, and Morgan Freeman is like, "You look great." You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't want
Jones.
that.
James Earl Jones is like, "You are amazing." I would love that.
Christopher Walken. Yeah. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Reedy or not says, I know it's already out there, but I can't wait to get a self-parking car so I don't have to have parallel park ever again.
It's pretty cool.
Do you guys ever use that feature?
I do. It's pretty
No,
useful.
me and my Nissan Rogue parallel park ourselves because
Me
I
and
don't
my
have a
Mazda. Yeah.
Normal cars have that function too now. They do the self-parking stuff.
That's the thing. I know here's the thing though, not to brag, I'm very good at parallel parking.
Yeah, same. I never use it because I'm good. I don't need your assistance.
So it is kind of like the one flex I have. So, because the amount of times I will pull into a parallel parking spot in one take and the passenger with me is like stunned, it makes like clapping. That's my personal hype. So
starts clapping.
I'm definitely a 2-3 take guy. I'm not even lie. I'm a 2-3 take guy for sure.
Many times I've gotten at like if I was in the passenger seat, my friend had to parallel park, we'll switch spots so that I can parallel park.
That's amazing.
Okay.
That's really funny.
Texas in you. That got something to do with
it's
Texas.
because I did parent-taught driving, and my parents had like this big expedition or SUV, whatever. And my dad, I don't know if he did this intentionally or if he just didn't quite realize it, but we would go to the high school parking lot to practice, and I had to parallel park into a motorcycle parking spot, which is pretty tight.
He knew what he was doing.
And so I could
get
parallel
this
park.
expedition in a motorcycle.
Yeah, and there's no cameras, probably, Emily. Right?
There
you
were
didn't do it with
not.
cameras, so you had to put your arm on the shoulder. And
Yeah.
just do
That
this
reminds
turn.
me of dodgeball. If you can dodge these wrenches, you can dodge a ball.
That's what it was. Now, I will say my car now does have a backup camera. And so it is a little harder to parallel park if I don't have a backup camera now.
Yeah. Mine, you can see on top, and you're like, okay, I'm going to crash this guy. I can see it via satellite.
Wait, you can see it from the top?
Yeah, my car, I can see it. I can see both sides, the front, back, and the back. So literally, like, there's a top bird's eye view of me pulling into the car.
Wait, that's cool.
It's really neat. How'd y'all learn you mentioned you learned to drive on an Expedition. I learned to drive on a stick shift Toyota Tercel, like a 1985 Toyota Tercel stick shift, little tin can. But that's how I learned to drive. Like, it was almost like it was my grandparents' car and it was the only one available to me. But it was like, in hindsight, like, I'm glad I did, because it was like I learned to drive on the hardest car possible to learn how to drive on. And then it made you just a better driver.
That's a great question. What's your first car that you've ever?
Astrovan.
Astrovan. You learned to drive an Astrovan.
Oh my gosh! What color was it?
It was white with a gray and maroon stripe.
Pinstripe, absolutely.
We had an Astrovan that was gray, but I learned how to drive on the this like used. Remember Jurassic Park? Those Explorers. Oh, yeah. My dad loved the movie so much. Apparently, like, he bought the same model. It was like super old, and that's what I learned how to drive on those little Jurassic Park Explorers from the 90s.
Derek, I didn't know that that's what an Astrovan was, but now, like,
you looked it up.
Is really
so much more respect for you now.
I'm like imagining you driving it, and it is the funniest.
It was. Listen, I used to drive that Astrovan like it was a freaking.
You were like, "This is my Mercedes." Yeah,
bro. I had that. We had that in gray. I love that car. Honestly, it was crazy. But the one we had like TVs that went down, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to whip that joint.
Yeah. Well, ours is pretty great.
Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
Okay, well, at the beginning of the show, Derek and I were talking about the epic trip we got to participate on in this week. And
the one that Marty and I didn't get to go on.
Yeah, we
correct. Marty was invited. You were not. It was only men.
Oh, okay.
What? It was what? We don't want to have women there messing things up.
It was a cry fest, Emily. Let us be.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Me and my girls are gonna do something.
I don't want to cry in front of you. That's what it is.
I told you, I love when men cry in front of me. It's so fun.
I don't want to.
We're gonna work on that.
So anyway, it was this epic setting in the Colorado mountains, adventure, and all this kind of stuff. We want to know your epic dream trip. A lot of people go to Iceland and the fjords and, go Sahara Desert and all that stuff. What's your epic dream trip?
And it better not be nothing like Panama City or something, bro. Like
No.
I fully expect everyone to be like Lord of the Rings. I want to go to Scotland or something like that. I want to go to New Zealand.
Okay, so let's take some off the list. You're saying no Lord of the Rings?
How about this? It has to. It can't be like a local trip. If you're because you can't be like Miami. Like you have to. 100%. It has to be something that's very epic,
out of your element.
Yes, this is a dream scenario. Your dream scenario is not to go to Wisconsin.
Right, or Vegas.
As a matter of fact, the more details, the better. Because I want to know what kind of hotel you're staying in. Is it a tiny house or is it
who's with you?
Right, who's with you? I need more details. Like I want to experience it with you visually.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, mine's women only. So how does that feel?
I'm okay with that. With that.
That's a good feeling.
All right, epic dream trip that you actually want to do one day, not just some weird thing you're just going to tell us. You actually want to go on it. Hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast. We'll read our favorites on next week's show. Well, before we wrap up, I want to thank Mike Todd for joining us today. Make sure to follow him on all the socials. Check out his books. They're doing a lot. Transformation Church is blowing up. Also, make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Follow us on all the socials. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up very soon. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
White people different.
Relevant Podcast Network.